We're heading down to Little Harbor, and we're only going with our head sail, but we were going too fast. We were going about 6 knots with 13 knots of breeze, about 120 degrees off the port side. So we put a reef in, and the wind slowed down too. So we got 9.5 to 10 knots of breeze, and we're going 4.8 to 5 knots. What do you think, honey?
It's so beautiful, and the weather has been really nice too.
We're going to go down. There's 2 anchorages we're going to hit, and then we're going to turn out and go around a sandbar that goes almost to the other side, and then we have to snake through and stay in the channel for the remainder, or most of the remainder of the time. We should be there around probably 1:30, which is too early. I was hoping we'd be there 2 to 3, but I left too early, and we were going faster than I wanted to go. This is what we're doing. We went to the. On the way back, we're going to go to Tilloo pond. And now we have to skirt this big sandbar, and we'll stay in the channel. And then there's several more sandbars that the channel might be 300 feet wide, 200 feet wide. But hopefully you can see that sandbar. There's massive. And it runs from over right to there, all the way over to where the boats are. And that's where we're going to anchor next time. Out there is a cut. I forgot which cut that is. We're going to go around this sandbar, and then we're going to go in front of these islands, and then we'll turn back south again. Hey, honey. From here on, there's either a few islands, mostly reefs, so we've got a lot of exposure to the ocean. So the waves are 3+ feet, 4 feet. They're one every 3 or 4 seconds. I'm confused. Watching, we just hit some big ones now. It's coming back down. But we put our sail back out, turn off our motor to stabilize the boat. And we'll turn downwind now. Well, we decided to come back. The wind was blowing 14 and 19. The waves were over the reef, so we're 4 to 6 foot, maybe really tight chop. And where we were going was going to be exposed all the time. So we turned around, we're going to go anchor. Hey, Yanni.
Hi, my love.
What do you think?
We have an experience that it was a little scary for me.
Yeah, but it's better now, right?
Yes, it's more peaceful.
It was rough,
Oh my God.
but not now.
No, now it's okay.
We're going to go back to where we saw on the way back. We were going to come here anyway and anchor. There's a beautiful beach, a little lagoon, and we think it'll be good, right?
Yes, it's much better.
This morning we started here and we sailed down to get an idea of what this anchorage looked like, but I didn't want to jive, so we cut the corner. And we came around this big sandbar, and it was a big one. And when we got here, it started, that's where the video of the catamaran was. It started getting rough, but when we turned here, now we had waves coming from this direction and from this direction and all the way to sail up, and that was helping. The waves are like, I don't know, 4 to 6 feet and coming from multiple directions and just tossing us around. And Cynthia had never been on a boat, never been in the ocean, never been in a sailboat, never been in rough, and that was more than she could bear. And to tell you the truth, where we were going, we were going to anchor down here, but if we had all these waves coming in up here, this would have been a terrible place to anchor, and we would have had to come back and just suffer on an anchorage along the the shoreline here. So we turned around up here. I can figure out where we turned around. Right here, you can see where I turned the boat around. Right here, and just came back. We tacked back into the wind and sailed back. So it's beautiful, and around the corner is a big, beautiful beach. But it's peaceful, and the wind will continue to clock from the northeast, and it'll come over here to the east-northeast. So it'll be nice. The Bahamian flag, the American flag, and the Ecuadorian flag. That's our second Ecuadorian flag. The Ecuadorian flag's not holding up so great. And there's Chela. It's just that it's going because they're running out of daylight. There's where we stayed 2 nights ago, and I miss it. It was awesome. Where we stayed last night was terrible. The wind was supposed to be blowing 13 to 14 from the east, northeast, and up to 37 knots from northeast. So we had 2 to 3 foot waves. We dragged 60 feet, maybe 80 feet. And this morning, as we picked up our anchor, we picked up a cable. And it took about 30 minutes for us to figure out how to get that cable out of our anchor. There's no cable crossing shown on the charts. But that's where we were 2 nights ago, and it was amazing. And that's Lover's Quarter over there, an island. And there's a little island we're going around. We're going to go back to Hopetown and go back to our little niche we found, and hopefully it'll be peaceful and we can go in and do fun things. And that is Tilloo Cut. It's completely closed out. The water should be at the lowest 7 feet, but we hit the bottom twice with 1 foot above low tide. And it's 6'6" now, but it should be about 8 feet. So the chart's a little off. We should have left more toward high tide. We left on a falling tide. But we thought by the time we get there, we'd still be a foot above low tide. That would be safe, but this whole place is sketchy. We did it. Back at Hopetown. Wind was supposed to be blowing 12 or 13 miles an hour, but we saw 20 knots. Coming back, we should have been coming back a foot above low tide, and low tide should have been some places 7.5, some places 8.5, but we ran aground about 3 times. The Navionic charts really aren't that accurate in the southern half coast as I've seen it. It's beautiful. We're in about 6 feet of water. And back in the little nook that we found before that we liked so much. We're 9 knots, 10 knots here, 6 feet 1 inch, and we're done. We are happily back at Hopetown, and this is where we were last night. It should have been a beautiful place. This is the bottom of Tilloo, and that was a beautiful beach here. We motored over and looked at it, but we didn't get out. It was already cold and very windy. As they said last night, the wind was supposed to blow 12 to 13 miles an hour. We had gusts into like 38 knots. And you can see we dragged, and it rained like crazy, but the local radar didn't show any rain at all. But our radar picked it all up. But you can see where we were. This is where I started, and that's where my anchor was, and it dragged here, and then it dragged down to here, and you can see that's 20 feet. So we dragged about 100 feet. But I watched it. It wasn't a problem because it was all the same depth, and it went out to no man's land. And it was pouring rain and windy, and I didn't want to deal with it. And my anchor chain and whatever, the windlass is doing terrible. So this morning with about a foot and a half above low tide, we slowly pulled up the chain and grabbed a cable, big cable, and that took us about 30 minutes to figure out how to get it off our anchor. But we did, and there was no cable crossing shown on the chart, so that's not fair. So anyway, we moved back and we motored. We didn't do any sailing, although we had plenty of wind. We would have been beating, and I only had the head sail out, so that doesn't sound fun. Oops. And so this is showing the marks that we did. I don't know why it's doing that. So we came here, and this is where we anchored the other day, and it was spectacular. It was that peninsula guarded us. But what's so funny is we should have been a foot plus above mean low tide, and we dragged here, so we should have had 7.5 feet, 8 to 8, but we dragged about 4 times, and our depth is 5.5 feet, and we dragged in multiple places that we shouldn't have dragged, but we did. And even where we are now, it was very, very shallow. We barely made it. I'd say for it was about an hour and a half, and for an hour plus we were at 6 feet or less, and we drag at 5.5 feet. So we came up here, and this is Hopetown, and we came in and snugged up as tight as I could get before I let the chain out. It said 7.2 at low tide, but we're at 6 feet right now. So I came all the way in as far as I felt comfortable coming, and then I put about 60 feet of chain out and about 6 feet of water. So we are here, and we are safe, and we're happy. One more leg. We'll stay here 3 days and enjoy Hopetown, and then we'll go back and renew Cynthia's travel visa.